we do have another little opportunity for a Q&A session with some of our speakers from earlier in the day. I'm joking. So can I please welcome back up to the stage Mark Glasbrook, Will Frogley, Daniel Gannon, Craig Holden, Peter Crew and Jane Johnston. And if you do still have any questions that have gone unanswered from throughout the day for any of the speakers that you've already heard from, please put them in the Q&A section of the app. Don't forget to go to the afternoon session. When you get to the first page, click on the live poll Q&A and then click on afternoons, and you can put your questions in there. Thank you all. I saw a few of you at the bar, so this might be good.
I just want to know who the mercenary is.
I'll go mercenary.
All right. Well, while we wait for some questions to come in, I've got a couple of questions. What have you guys taken out of today? What would be your main priority that needs to be addressed first when we leave here today to try and help with, I mean, we were talking about housing, we were talking about migration and skills. In your field, what would you like to see? Jane, I'll start with you.
I actually think something I've taken out of today is some of the really tangible actions and achievements have been quite simple. There's been a lot of talk about the complexity of some of these problems, but hearing the last set of speakers talk about what they've done through a leadership program that solved an initiative in their community that was really affecting them, I think that's what I've taken out of today personally, is that some of the achievements that are obviously being spoken about are looking at a first step to what is a complex problem.
And Peter, how did the leadership program come about? Because it does sound really simple. Talk to people in the community about what their issues are and ask them ways which it can be implemented. How did it come about?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Sorry, is that on? Yep.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. And I guess the fact that we lean on the same people all the time in our regional communities because they're invested and they're committed, but that's not sustainable, both for them, and it's so important that the people who are leading in our community reflect who our community is, and I guess that was our big drive, is how do we look at who is in our community? Do they have a voice? Are they represented as part of the conversation? Because diversity of thinking is what's going to address these really what we call wicked problems around workforce and housing and that sort of thing, which are going to require local solutions, because one solution will not fix all of it, and it's going to take leaders with lots of different thinking to actually then implement it, like Christy and Kirsten have done around the childcare issue in Kingston.
Daniel?
Look, I've got to say, the business community has been, and probably will continue to be, critical from time to time of the lack of commercial acumen in government. But I've got to say, hearing from Chris Menz earlier today, talking about partnering with business and industry to bring solutions to the table, and his commercial acumen, I think, was on full display. And, of course, to Anne as a board member of Renewal SA, that for me was quite refreshing. That they are considering land economics and the harsh reality of where we are at the moment. Renewal SA has been a great partner of the Property Council for a long time now, but Chris Menz really is a breath of fresh air, I think, commercially, and hopefully that starts to filter through government to the executive level, perhaps in a more meaningful way.
How long do you think we'll have to wait to see?
Probably 15 years.
Hopefully not 30 years. Hey, Craig.
No, not 30 years. Well, I too, firstly, I'm impressed with the enthusiasm and talent and commitment by the people I've heard today. So you're in some good hands with some terrific young people in this organisation. It's actually the reason I put the heat on Chris this morning, and I'll do so in the car when I drive home, is that actually Minister Champion, to his credit, acknowledged that there's a need in the regions for housing. And so my understanding is that he's given some instructions to the board, and Anne, you might be able to... Are you still here, Anne? Yeah, you might be able to... Oh, your lips are sealed? Okay, well, of course they are. Yeah, when Chris made a point of identifying that Renewal SA now will have a focus on the regions, I think that's come from the Minister. And to his credit, he understands the issues. Chris is a really smart fellow. He's very versatile and talented, and he will do a good job of it. And that's why I kept going on and on about it in relation to the need for housing to be supported through the community housing sector in your regions. And so they've got a big task, but if it's from the top, if government makes a decision to do something and it comes from the top, then there's every chance that in a year's time, when we're all reconvening here, there'll be some much better news.
Will?
Yeah, I think what stands out to me today is how interconnected a lot of these issues are. So, we can talk about affordable housing and the like till the cows come home, but if we don't have enough skilled people in the regions to deliver on that demand, it's just not going to work. So, construction, we feel it, but it's everyone I speak to, regardless of the sector at the moment, is how hard it is to find people to do the work that is out there. And, certainly one thing Master Builders has pushed from a perspective, we need obviously more skilled migration, we need to train more apprentices and the like, but that can take some time. One thing we think can be done immediately to help not just the building industry but a wide variety of sectors is tapping into pensioners. Now, in Australia, they're only about 3% of the workforce, whereas in New Zealand, they're about 20% of the workforce. And why is that? It's how heavily pensioners are taxed to actually work. So if you earn more than $1 above $490, you lose 50 cents out of your pension. So, and then you get taxed at 19%. So really your marginal tax rate is 69%. So a lot of people who might want to work look at that and say, well, it's just not worth it. How about if we just scrap that and people were just taxed at the normal rate that's appropriate? There's about 500,000 job vacancies in the country right now. Now, we're realistic from a building perspective in that we're probably not going to get an army of 75-year-old bricklayers to help us out, or concreters or the like.
Take even longer to build a house.
So we're realistic.
Isn't everyone a four-person though? Everyone can be a manager.
We're realistic about that, but there's a lot of jobs in the industry where you don't have to work physically. And what about all the other industries that could benefit from an immediate big kick to labour supply, which I think, like I said, regardless of your industry, we're all crying out for more people.
And Mark, I guess that sort of plays into your role. I was really interested in only 2.4% of the temporary visa holders are here in South Australia. Why? Do they not want to come here? Do we not have enough positions in South Australia? Are we not attracting the right sort of visas? What?
Look, it's interesting that the overall structure of the migration program doesn't support the needs of South Australia, even more so in regional areas. And some of the recommendations out of the Skills Forum, Jobs and Skills Summit, looking at increasing the minimum salary level required to employ someone through a sponsored visa. At the moment, the salary floor is $53,900, so that's the minimum salary that someone can be paid to access the program. They still have to be paid market salary rates. You can't pay a temporary migrant less. But there's a number of unions and the Grattan Institute that are advocating for that minimum salary level to be increased to around $100,000. If it does get to that level, then your meat industry, aged care, trades, a whole range of people won't be able to access the migration program to address demand. So that 2.4% will get far lower.
Grim. Let's go back to something a bit more.
Unless business and industry lobby for it not to happen, and that's what we need to do. The reality of the migration program is it doesn't work in South Australia, and we can see that from program outcomes. We've got to do something about it, and if we just leave it to chance, then we're going to continue to see the program not work here in South Australia.
Something a bit more positive. Let's go back to you, Peter. How do you promote the leadership program to find participants each year, and do you have trouble filling the spots?
So I guess I can only speak from the Limestone Coast side of things. So that's where we really relied on our steering committee, our regional steering committee. So there are people out in the community and had those connections. And human nature being what it is, some people will put themselves forward, others take a tap on the shoulder. And so we utilise the steering committee, but also then our alumni in terms of go out, talk to your colleagues and your friends, people that are interested, talk about your experience and that sort of thing, along with all the normal ways you promote things through various social media platforms and that sort of thing. But a lot of it really was word of mouth.
Yeah, okay. Probably one for all of you, but I'll start with you, Jane. Why aren't we subsidising our current unemployed to take a Study Adelaide tour program, just like people from overseas, as I'm sure that many of the long-term unemployed would be enlightened?
The reason that we are not subsidising that is that Study Adelaide's focus is on supporting international students who come in. So that is the focus of us and what we do. It does not mean that we would not be more than willing to work with a different department or a different area to work on sharing our knowledge or how those things could work together. But Study Adelaide has been established to promote Adelaide as an international education destination, and we work to make sure that international students who choose South Australia have a rewarding experience and connected into industry. So that's why there's the parameters that there are around our program. But as with everything, we are only as strong as our partnerships and our collaboration. So if anybody is interested in learning more about the program, I'd also encourage you to speak to Jodie, who's in the audience from Study Adelaide, who is running the show. I may be up here talking about it, but she goes on every single one of these regional tours. She meets with the employers, she calls up the students, she's on the bus telling them to smarten up, what to wear, how to talk. That's your lady. So whoever's interested in how that could be done for domestic students, we'd be really keen to partner and to learn more about what you're wanting out of it and to share what we've learned about it as well.
Jodie, give us a wave. That's Jodie, everyone. Couple of comments. Those salary levels are a huge barrier to the hospitality industry, the ones that you were talking about, Mark. And also another one from Aaron. Seriously, the 75-year-old tradies may not be able to run the tools, but they'd be great mentors to help apprentices thrive and stay in the job instead of walking away when it gets too hard. Someone commenting about the old farts in the room. No, I think it's a fair question. For us old farts in the room, isn't it about knowledge transfer? And what Will is saying is a real-life industry engagement strategy for the now, tomorrow and the future. And I guess that's what everyone here is talking about. All right, I think. Any other questions? No. Thank you all. Really appreciate it. Jane, Daniel, Will, Mark, Craig, Peter, really appreciate your time and your insights today. I think we all have. And to our speakers from throughout the day earlier as well, thank you very much for everyone. Thank you.